What if type Moon upgrade entries and join the chat group at the beginning? Su Chen transmigrated to the type Moon world and bound to the entry system. Right at the beginning, he obtained the Grand Succubus entry as part of his novice gift package. You mean, when other female heroic spirits were fighting to become my servants, you secretly took their place? Su Chen pondered for a moment and said this to the white-haired girl he had just summoned. That's right. As a magical girl, isn't it my duty to share their worries? Merlin smiled playfully. Su Chen simply replied, amazing. Just after Su Chen summoned Merlin, the Wanjie Chat Group sent him an invitation. Wang Xiaomei posted, first of all, let me make it clear that my name is Wang Xiaomei, and I am a time traveler, not Ganyu from Genshin Impact. Lumine posted, don't look at me like that, I'm not the silent main character you know in the game. I'm really good at wielding the elements. Chapter 25, Transferring the Command Seal, Emir Kiritsugu loses his brother. I want to make this Holy Grail war interesting, to make it more lively. Su Chen's face showed a look of excitement. It was as if a villain who had defeated the protagonist began to loudly proclaim his plans and ideals at the most crucial moment. To turn what should have been a duel between 7 masters into a battle between 7 masters and 7 masters. Hearing Su Chen's excited words, the remaining 3 people, except for the 2 Artorias and Monica Saju who was observing in secret, couldn't help but look at Su Chen in shock. One must know that the Holy Grail War has always been about 7 masters summoning servants and then fighting each other. The previous 3 Holy Grail Wars were all like this, and it had never changed. But now Su Chen actually said he wanted to change the Holy Grail War where 7 masters fought each other into a 7-on-7 battle. Could such a thing really be done? This question arose in Irisveel's mind. Emir Kiritsugu was much more direct, immediately opening his mouth to refute, how could such a thing be done? Before Emir Kiritsugu could finish his words, Su Chen interrupted him. Of course it can be done. The designer of the Holy Grail War, when first designing it, set a rule to prevent unexpected situations. For example, at the start of the Holy Grail War, the 7 masters have no intention of fighting each other but instead unite, planning to cooperate to obtain the Holy Grail together. In such a situation, this hidden rule will be triggered. The Holy Grail will select 7 more masters to fight against these 7 masters. He had had this plan since he returned after completing the chat group's mission. Firstly, it could allow him to bind a few more servants, increasing the number of times he could obtain entries each week. Secondly, it was for the chat group mission. When Wang Xiaomei and the others came here, he let them become masters. This way, not only could they participate in the Holy Grail War and truly experience the feeling of the Holy Grail War, but they also received the chat group's reward. This was a good thing that killed 3 birds with 1 stone. Emir Kiritsugu was startled in his heart, instinctively wanting to get up and resist, but his arm was immediately cut off by Artoria Pendragon Lancer. Intense pain struck, Emir Kiritsugu gritted his teeth, his face turning incredibly pale. Even in winter, Emir Kiritsugu's forehead was still covered in sweat. He reached out and held his shoulder, enduring the pain as he said, "Do you mean you want to pull the other masters into your camp to trigger this hidden rule? Stop dreaming. Not just me, even if other masters faced this situation, they would at most agree verbally, but they wouldn't sincerely cooperate with you in their hearts." So I didn't intend to use this method from the beginning. Instead, I will directly modify the Great Holy Grail's magic surgical procedure. Su Chen's expression calmed down, but his words once again shocked Emir Kiritsugu and the other 2. Modify the Great Holy Grail's surgical procedure? Can this really be done? Even an ordinary caster would probably find it difficult to modify the Holy Grail's surgical procedure. Feeling Monica Saju's gaze disappear, Su Chen smiled slightly. His goal had been achieved, and he didn't intend to continue talking. Then, with a thought, a crack suddenly appeared in the void in front of him. Immediately after, the crack opened wide. A portal appeared in front of Su Chen. This was exactly the transportation method within the imaginary element magic that Su Chen had mastered. performing spatial teleportation or spatial transfer through imaginary number space. Su Chen extended his right hand into the imaginary number space, then as if grabbing something, he gave a sharp pull, dragging the bewildered Merlin to his side. "Merlin, please transfer these 2 command seals to Iris Veil," Su Chen said, handing Emir Kiritsugu's severed arm to Merlin. "Okay." Merlin scanned the surroundings and roughly understood the current situation. Then, a staff suddenly appeared in her hand. With a light tap on the ground, the command seals on the back of Emir Kiritsugu's severed hand instantly transferred to Iris Veil. After all, she had already had one experience before, so transferring command seals now was effortless. Iris Veil felt something, and a blush instantly appeared on her face. She glared at Merlin in shame and anger but ultimately did not open her mouth to accuse her. Regardless, the other party had given her Emir Kiritsugu's command seals. She had obtained mandatory control over Artoria. For her, it was a piece of good news. Seeing Iris Veil's shy and angry look, Su Chen immediately understood what Merlin had done. After silently giving Merlin a thumbs up in his heart, he opened a portal at Merlin's feet. In an instant, Merlin's feet lost their support, and she began to fall. Only this loud shout was left. "Master! You can't abandon me after using me." As Merlin's voice disappeared, the portal completely closed. Emir Kiritsugu, who was nearby, saw the whole process. At this moment, he finally confirmed that Su Chen was the culprit who destroyed the Matu family. And this guy Su Chen even performed an illegal summon. He had obtained 2 servants. With a caster in hand, this guy might really be able to modify the rules of the Holy Grail War. Just as Emir Kiritsugu was secretly pondering how to stop Su Chen's malevolent gaze turned towards Emir Kiritsugu again. "Although I don't intend to kill you right now, for your attempt to kill me just now, I still have to teach you a lesson." Saying that, Su Chen raised his leg and kicked straight between Emir Kiritsugu's legs. Bang! Bang! In an instant, Emir Kiritsugu's body flew backward dozens of meters and finally fell unconscious. During this time, although Emir Kiritsugu felt intense pain, this unprecedented pain also prevented him from making a sound, and he immediately passed out. "You bastard!" Xiaomei instantly flared up when she saw this scene. But in the next moment, her chest was pierced by Artoria Lancer's light blade. A mouthful of blood spurted from her mouth, and she instantly lost her ability to move. "How loyal, Miss Mew," Su Chen crouched down, revealing a playful smile. "Listen to me obediently from now on. You shouldn't want anything unexpected to happen to Emir Kiritsugu, right?" Xiaomei was furious. However, she really didn't dare to do anything. Because her actions might very well prompt Su Chen to change his mind and kill Emir Kiritsugu. Thinking of this, Xiaomei forcibly suppressed her anger and then fainted. "Master, how should we handle this woman?" Artoria Lancer asked. "Take her back." Su Chen's tone was flat. As he spoke, golden light appeared on his palm. In just a moment, Xiaomei's body was completely restored. It's quite useful. Even if it's not used for resurrecting people, it can be used as recovery magic. Su Chen raised his eyebrows slightly, thinking to himself. "Su Chen, are you going to the castle under Einsburn's name?" Having seen the entire process and not stopping Su Chen's actions, Iris Veil extended an invitation to Su Chen. Artoria had also recovered by this time. She stood beside Iris Veil without saying a word, but when she looked at Su Chen, a hint of apology appeared in her eyes. Chapter 26, Monica Saju's Actions and the Master's Reactions. Su Chen thought for a moment when he heard this, and didn't refuse Iris Veil's suggestion. Although he wasn't short on money, he hadn't had time to buy his own house yet and had been staying in a hotel. Now facing Iris Veil's invitation, he naturally wouldn't refuse. Anyway, soon the entire Einsburn family would become his property. The industries under his name could also be freely controlled by him. It just saved him the trouble of buying a house. On the other side, After hearing Su Chen's purpose, Monica Saju immediately ran to Fuyuki City Central Park excitedly to help Su Chen complete his plan. Although the beautiful girl couldn't see Su Chen's future, she knew that what the young man had just said was actually for her. His purpose was naturally to ask her to help modify the rules of the Holy Grail. If it were someone else, facing Su Chen's obvious attempt to use her, they would definitely feel repulsed and wouldn't pay any attention to Su Chen. Some with a bad temper might even try to teach Su Chen a lesson. But Monica Saju was not an ordinary person. She didn't have the logic and values that ordinary people possessed. She only knew that her prince needed her. Therefore, she extended a helping hand to him, trying every possible way to get closer to Su Chen. What made her very curious was how Su Chen knew that she had the ability to modify the magic spells of the Great Holy Grail. After all, on the surface, she was just a cute girl next door. The fact that she had been connected to the root since she was a child had been well hidden by her, even her family didn't know. It was even more so later, when she voluntarily sealed her abilities. She started acting like a normal person. Other people were even less likely to see her abnormality. But the most important thing now is to stay by his side. I'm sure he will be very happy after I help him complete this matter. I can also stay by his side and taste this deliciousness where everything is unknown. Monica Saju's pretty face was full of intoxication. Like a butterfly dancing gracefully, the girl stepped with light and elegant steps to the location of the Great Holy Grail. Then, the girl who was experiencing her first love voluntarily broke the rules she had set for herself for Su Chen. She unsealed herself. At the same time, as the first battle of the Holy Grail War ended, several masters were celebrating the results of tonight. After all, it was only the first night, and one servant had already been eliminated, and the identities of the masters and servants had been almost completely investigated. Now they just needed to make a detailed and thorough plan, and they would definitely win the Holy Grail War and seize the Holy Grail. While the other masters were feeling joyful, Lord El Meloy Kenneth couldn't be happy at all. In a certain hotel, Kenneth was smashing things in the room in anger, making a crashing sound. Damn berserker! He was clearly under control at first. Why did he lose control after meeting Saber? Kenneth roared with a face full of anger. As the head of the Archibald family and one of the 12 lords of the Clock Tower, Lord El Meloy, he showed astonishing talent from a young age, and no matter what type of magic it was, he could easily learn it and do it best. The reason he participated in the war was not because he desired the Holy Grail to grant him any wish. He simply wanted to add to his resume, to increase his visibility and reputation within the Clock Tower. But what he never expected was that after he participated in the Holy Grail War, his luck began to decline sharply. First, the holy relic he prepared was stolen by his student. This caused him to summon the irrational berserker when he summoned his servant. But this was not the most crucial point. The most crucial point was that with his magic talent, he could have perfectly controlled Lancelot's actions. But upon seeing Artoria, Lancelot immediately lost control. No matter how he used magic, he couldn't make Lancelot obey. When Artoria Lancer was about to kill Lancelot, he even used a command seal to try to forcefully summon Lancelot back. But he didn't expect that even the command seal would have no effect. He could only watch helplessly as his servant was eliminated by Artoria Lancer. Lord El Meloy, one of the 12 lords, was easily eliminated by an enemy servant on the first night of the Holy Grail War. If this were to be reported back to the Clock Tower, let alone increasing his reputation, he would have to burn incense if it didn't damage the prestige he had accumulated before. More importantly, due to his own arrogance and conceit, he also brought his beloved fiancée Sola Ui to Fuyuki City. He just wanted her to witness the scene of him winning the Holy Grail War. But he didn't expect to show Sola Ui his victorious attitude. Instead, he let Sola Ui see his embarrassed side. Thinking of this, Kenneth punched the wall, making a dull sound. Fortunately, Kenneth did not smash things in his own room. Instead, he specifically opened another room in the hotel to vent his anger, worried that Solar UI would see him like this and affect her opinion of him. Just at this moment, the Holy Grail transmitted the new rules of the Holy Grail War to all masters and servants. The Holy Grail War is temporarily suspended. Masters of the Red Faction and Black Faction. A battle between 7 masters and 7 masters? Receiving the information transmitted by the Holy Grail, Kenneth was full of astonishment. Immediately after, his angry emotions turned into intense joy. Ha ha ha, I didn't expect that I would actually have another chance. Solar UI, just watch. This time, I will definitely win the Holy Grail War and you will enjoy that joyful time with me. Kenneth laughed heartily. He never expected that he, an eliminated master, would once again gain the right to summon a servant because of this change. And the command seals he had used before were all restored at this moment. In contrast, masters like Tokiomi Tosaka immediately made bitter faces. For them, the addition of several masters and servants would increase the uncertainty of this Holy Grail War. It would also increase the difficulty of this Holy Grail War. Although they would have 6 more teammates, turning enemies who were originally fighting each other into teammates all of a sudden. How could they trust each other? On the other side, receiving the information transmitted by the Holy Grail, Emir Kiritsugu, who woke up from unconsciousness, looked at the command seals that had reappeared on the back of his hand, and his expression became extremely complicated. It was completed so quickly, and it even made me a master again. How arrogant! I will definitely make you regret the decision you made. Speaking of which, Emir Kiritsugu's eyes became firm. Although he lost an arm, lost his loyal assistant, and lost his most important brother. But he did not lose his dream. No matter how difficult the road ahead was, he would definitely continue walking until he became the ally of justice he dreamed of being. Chapter 27, Collector of All Worlds. Returning to Su Chen's perspective. In Fuyuki City, inside the Einsburn Castle. Irisveal and Su Chen also received the information transmitted from the Holy Grail. Su Chen, what's going on? Irisveal looked at Su Chen with some confusion. You see, she had been with Su Chen the entire time. She accompanied him to the hotel to pick up Sakura Matu and Merlin and bring them to the Einsburn Castle to stay. Following him the whole way, she hadn't seen any signs of Su Chen making a move on the Holy Grail. What makes you think I would explain my purpose to Emir Kiritsugu like an idiot? Su Chen calmly finished his dinner, took out a napkin, and wiped his mouth. You mean someone else was observing us just now? Irisveal was startled, then turned to look at Artoria. I did sense a gaze falling on Su Chen just now. Artoria nodded slightly. As for Su Chen, she was first attracted by his charm, and then felt ashamed for attacking him under the control of a command seal. Therefore, most of her attention was focused on Su Chen just now, and she also noticed someone watching Su Chen from a distance. Irisveal nodded upon hearing this, then looked at Su Chen and asked with some curiosity, is it someone you're familiar with? She didn't think it was other masters peeking at them. After all, she clearly sensed that all their familiars had retreated from the scene. Moreover, she didn't believe that any of the masters in this Holy Grail War could rewrite the Great Holy Grail's magic formula. If he could really rewrite the Holy Grail's formula, then why would he participate in the Holy Grail War? Wouldn't it be better to just modify the Holy Grail's formula directly and seize the Holy Grail for himself? Su Chen pondered for a moment, then slowly said, it should be considered a familiar stranger. Irisveal was full of question marks upon hearing Su Chen's answer. A familiar stranger? If they are strangers, then why would they be familiar with each other? But if they are familiar, then why would Su Chen say the other person is a stranger? As Irisveal, who was instilled with endless knowledge the moment she was created, she felt for the first time that the knowledge in her mind could not answer the doubts in her heart. Su Chen saw Irisveal's confusion but did not explain it to her. As a transmigrator, he was naturally familiar with characters from previous anime and games like Monica Saju. However, he and Monica Saju did not know each other, so they could only be considered familiar strangers. After dinner, Su Chen sent Sakura Matu back to her room, urging her to rest well and work hard on practicing magic tomorrow. Afterward, he returned to his own bedroom. Lying on the soft, large bed, he began to prepare to sort out the gains from this trip. System, open the panel. Host, Su Chen. Bound special characters, Gilgamesh, Islander. Total 23 people. Exclusive traits, Third Magic, orange, Revival Magic, orange, Faraway Ideal Land, gold. Random trait acquisition attempts, 6. Exclusive trait acquisition attempts, 6. 6 more people, and next week there will be 6 more trait acquisition attempts. A hint of joy appeared on Su Chen's face. It's worth mentioning that the weekly refresh time for random traits obtained from later bound special characters is not calculated separately. Instead, it is calculated from the moment he bound the first character. In other words, after the random trait acquisition attempts refresh in a few days, he will have 23 random trait acquisition attempts. Thinking of this, Su Chen selectively ignored the panel for the characters bound today and directly began to acquire traits. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the trait, Gate of Babylon, gold. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the trait, Transmigrator's Bag of Tricks, gold. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the trait, 12 Labors, purple. As the series of prompts in his mind stopped, Su Chen began to check his gains. First, he drew Gate of Babylon again, and it was even gold level. Undoubtedly, after fusion and upgrade, the power of Gate of Babylon would become even stronger. Although the level of the 12 Labors trait was lower, it was the only trait that was similar in ability to his single red trait. After the two fused, the original ability of the super adaptation trait became slightly stronger, and it also gave Su Chen 11 more lives. This slight increase can be ignored. What touched him a little was the trait Transmigrator's Bag of Tricks. Similar to Gate of Babylon, the Transmigrator's Bag of Tricks was the cheat of an unknown transmigrator, and it could also be considered a special space. When the transmigrator transmigrated to other worlds, the Bag of Tricks would automatically collect all items from the transmigrator's current world. From small items like furniture and firearms to large items like divine artifacts and star destroyers, this Bag of Tricks had everything imaginable. Moreover, once the items inside were damaged or used, they would automatically be replenished and repaired. Even at the gold level, this trait was one of the top traits. He had a premonition that today was the time for Gate of Babylon to undergo a transformation. As this thought flashed through his mind, the trait system also popped up a prompt. Detected that trait Gate of Babylon, gold, and trait Transmigrator's Bag of Tricks, gold, have similar abilities. Fuse and upgrade? Seeing this, Su Chen thought to himself, as expected, then replied, yes. As soon as he spoke, the system automatically popped up a please wait prompt. After a few breaths, a brand new trait appeared before Su Chen's eyes. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a brand new trait, Collector of Myriad Realms, red. Woohoo! The second red trait. It wasn't easy, Su Chen cheered in his heart. Since transmigrating, although his luck had improved greatly, he hadn't drawn a single red trait, let alone a higher level trait. His only red trait was obtained from the newbie gift package. This shows how difficult it is to obtain a red trait. After a brief cheer, Su Chen began to examine the ability of Collector of Myriad Realms. Collector of Myriad Realms. As the Collector of Myriad Realms, you possess a special collection space. The space will automatically search other worlds and automatically collect items from that world that are not in the collection space. P.S. By continuously collecting items that are not in the collection space, the level of this trait will gradually increase. Awesome, Su Chen slowly uttered 2 words after reading the trait description. Collector of Myriad Realms not only retained the original abilities and items of the Gate of Babylon and Transmigrator's Bag of Tricks traits. It also gained the ability to automatically search for other worlds and automatically collect treasures from that world. Most importantly, this trait belonged to the type of upgradable traits like magic. As long as he kept throwing things that weren't in the collection space into the collection space, this trait would continue to upgrade. Combined, the two form an ability that can grow automatically. He didn't even need to deliberately use other traits to upgrade it. The saved low-level and useless traits could just be used to enhance the super adaptation trait. Chapter 28, New Group Member Friaren. Thinking of this, Su Chen again selected a few useful entries from those he had previously obtained and kept them, then threw the remaining entries to the super adaptation entry for upgrading. However, the effect was obvious: red entries were much harder to upgrade than gold ones. Especially since his super adaptation entry was one of the most powerful entries at the red level. Without using several high-level entries as fodder for upgrading, it would be difficult for the super adaptation entry to advance to a higher level. Thinking of this, Su Chen let out a long sigh. The excitement gradually calmed down. For now, he was quite satisfied with his growth. After all, counting everything, he had only been transmigrated for 2 days and already possessed such strength, which was something he couldn't even imagine before. He looked up at the clock. A new day had begun. Su Chen opened the chat group and signed in for the new day. Ding! Congratulations to group member for signing in and receiving 99 points. Su Chen glanced at his sign-in reward, not minding it. Anyway, today's harvest was already very abundant, so even if he only got 1 point from signing in today, it wouldn't affect his good mood. Immediately, he switched to the chat interface to see if the group members had discussed any restricted topics while he was away. Wang Xiaomei, woohoo tilde perfect, today's sign-in points are 88, and I also got a golden treasure chest. Bless me, fellow countrymen, let me open a divine artifact. Lumine, no, why are you so unfamiliar today? Although everyone occasionally has been a lucky person, why can you sign in and get a treasure chest before us? Did you use a backdoor for yourself? Kagaya Horizon, exactly. Did you use group owner privileges? Why did I only get 1 point today? Wang Xiaomei at Kagaya Horizon, mute warning, if you speak again, I will mute you. Kagaya Horizon, damn it, you power abuser. I will not yield to you. Ding! Group member Kagaya Horizon has been muted by the group owner for 10 minutes. Lumine, shivering. Friaren, is this golden treasure chest very valuable? Why are you all so excited? Psycho Busujima, it's quite valuable. The group owner has been signing in for nearly half a year and only got this one treasure chest. However, the probability of getting good things from a golden treasure chest is relatively low. It's estimated that not much good stuff will come out. Friaren, 1 in half a year. Isn't that quick to get one? It's not that valuable then. Psycho Busujima. She forgot that this newcomer was an elf who had lived for a very long time. Half a year was indeed not long for her. And just then, Su Chen came online. Su Chen, who? Friaren. When did we get a new member? Lumine, bro, you're finally online. Wang Xiaomei, not long after you went offline last time, Friaren joined the group. Speaking of which, has the Holy Grail War started on your side? We're still waiting to do tasks to get points. Su Chen, it has started, everything is arranged properly. You all rest tonight, and I can issue tasks tomorrow. Just in time, you can also summon servants tomorrow. Lumine, summon servants. Does that mean we can also have powerful servants? Can we take the servants back to our original world after the task ends? Su Chen, that depends on the servant's own will. If the servant is willing to go back with you, I won't stop them, but the probability is not very high. After sending this message, a thought flashed in Su Chen's eyes. If he stood by when Wang Xiaomei and the others summoned servants, then the summoned servants would likely all be female. If that were the case, then these servants would definitely not go to the worlds where Wang Xiaomei and the others were. The expectations in the hearts of Wang Xiaomei and the others would probably be dashed. He idled in the chat group for another half an hour. Su Chen then closed the group chat panel, preparing to rest. Click! Just then, his room door was pushed open, making a slight sound. Su Chen focused his eyes and found that the people who came were Merlin and Artoria Lancer. Their purpose for coming to him at this time was already self-evident, to get him to restore their mana reserves. It seems today is another day with no rest, Su Chen sighed, looking up. In order for tomorrow's Holy Grail War to be a crushing battle, Su Chen decided to stay up all night helping Merlin and Artoria Lancer restore their mana. The next day, early morning at 6 o'clock. Su Chen had just finished helping Merlin and Artoria Lancer restore their mana when he heard the notification sound from someone tagging him in the chat group. Su Chen, what's going on with you guys? It's only 6 in the morning, and there are already 99 plus message notifications. So lively. Wang Xiaomei, no choice, thinking about summoning a servant to participate in the Holy Grail War makes me so excited I can't sleep. I can't wait for daylight to arrive quickly. Psycho Busujima, +1, I only fell asleep at 3 in the morning and got up at 6. I don't feel tired at all, my spirit is abnormally high. Lumine, the most anticipated task. If I summon a powerful servant and bring her back to Teyvat, I'd like to see who in the 7 nations still dares to hunt me. Wang Xiaomei and Psycho Busujima had the same idea. The latter was in an apocalyptic world and naturally hoped to have a powerful fighting force as her helper, which would make things easier for her. Although the former was in a safe world, she, like Su Chen, was a transmigrator and naturally hoped to have a powerful servant. Besides, who would dislike having an extra powerful helper? But just then, a sentence from Kaguya Horizon shattered the beautiful fantasies of Wang Xiaomei and the other girls. Kaguya Horizon, did you forget something? By your side, there is also an existence known as the Grand Succubus. As soon as these words came out, they instantly woke up Wang Xiaomei and the other girls. Wang Xiaomei, damn it! I forgot the most important thing. Lumine, I still remember the group named Grand Succubus when the boss joined the group. As expected, those servants definitely won't go with us. Psycho Busujima, not only that, but if we summon a servant with a strong and bad personality, we also have to prevent being backstabbed by the servant. Otherwise, if we are really killed by the servant, it would truly become a joke. Su Chen, Psycho, don't worry about that. With me here, they won't harm your lives. Just then, Frieran also came online. Frieran, you're all up so early. Is the task about to start? When Frieran joined the group yesterday, she focused on studying the group files of the worlds where the group members were. Knowing what she was going to do today, a hint of anticipation also appeared in her heart. If she summoned a powerful servant and brought her back to her world, her hope of defeating the Demon King would greatly increase. Of course, if the servant was unwilling to go to her world, that was also fine. She herself was not an elf who placed hope on others. As an elf, she herself possessed a very long lifespan. Even without the assistance of others, she would one day be able to grow into a powerful magic user and defeat the Demon King. Chapter 29, Issue a Mission and Summon a Servant. Fuyuki City, Einsburn Castle. Su Chen instructed Merlin and Artoria Pendragon Lancer to quickly tidy up the cluttered room and had the castle's artificial female servants prepare breakfast. Only after completing all the preparations did Su Chen publish the task in the chat group. Group member Su Chen has published a task. Task Content 1, End the Holy Grail War. Task Reward, 50,000 points plus golden chest times 3. Task Time, 7 days. Task Content 2, Eliminate this world's evil. Task Reward, 200,000 points plus platinum chest times 3. Task Time, 7 days. Su Chen, alright, you can cross over now. Wang Xiaomei, received, see you in Fuyuki City. In the castle hall. Irisveal and Artoria were also there, accompanying Su Chen to receive his friends. Su Chen had already explained to them that these visitors were all people from other worlds. The main reason Su Chen changed the Holy Grail War from a game where 7 masters fought each other to a duel where 7 masters faced another 7 masters was to allow his friends to also participate in the Holy Grail War and experience the unique features of this world. The next moment, Wang Xiaomei and the others appeared out of thin air. Seeing this, Irisveal and Artoria couldn't help but show a hint of surprise in their eyes. After all, this was the Einsburn family's castle, and many magician barriers had been placed around it long ago. It was extremely rare to be able to enter Einsburn Castle silently without touching the barriers. However, thanks to Su Chen's previous explanation, their moods quickly calmed down. "Hello, madam, my name is Wang Xiaomei. Please take care of me for the next few days," Wang Xiaomei said politely, bowing to Irisveal. Her strength was not the strongest among the group members, but she was the chat group leader, so this kind of greeting should be initiated by her. "Oh, madam, that's still too early for me." Irisveal's pretty face instantly flushed red upon hearing Wang Xiaomei's address. Looking at Irisveal, who was covering her cheeks with her small hands, looking shy and awkward, Wang Xiaomei cast a questioning look at Su Chen. "She and Emiya Kiritsugu are just in a simple cooperative relationship," Su Chen explained, a playful smile appearing on his face. She had the nerve to remind him not to take the original plot seriously before the last mission, yet she herself took that plot seriously. Wang Xiaomei understood the meaning of Su Chen's smile and immediately gave an awkward laugh. "Everyone, breakfast will be ready in a while. Su Chen and I will take everyone on a tour of Einsburn Castle first," Irisveal said with a smile. No need. We are here to participate in the Holy Grail War, so let's summon our servants first," Wang Xiaomei said, smiling as she politely refused. "Ooh? But now is not the best time to summon servants." Irisveal was stunned for a moment, thinking that Wang Xiaomei and the others were from other worlds and didn't know the conditions and rules for summoning servants, so she proactively explained them. But at this moment, Su Chen stopped her in time. "Irisveal, with me here, summoning servants doesn't need to be so troublesome," Su Chen smiled helplessly. He didn't explain further, but simply led everyone to the open space outside the castle, planning to demonstrate it himself for Irisveal to see. In the courtyard outside the castle, Su Chen had Wang Xiaomei and the others form a circle, then turned to look at Merlin. "Merlin!" Merlin nodded, and the staff in her hand gently tapped the ground. In an instant, a crimson magic circle appeared beneath Wang Xiaomei and the others' feet, emitting a crimson light. At the same time, the command seals also appeared on the back of Wang Xiaomei and the others' hands. Vaguely, a noisy fighting sound echoed in their minds before stopping. As the red light of the summoning circle dissipated, 5 graceful figures appeared beside Wang Xiaomei and the others. The combinations were as follows. Wang Xiaomei with Morgan, of the Berserker class. Friaran with Semiramis, of the Assassin class. Lumine with Medusa, of the Rider class. Kaguya Horazon with Ishtar, of the Archer class. Psycho Busujima with Mordred, of the Saber class. In an instant, the vitality in the courtyard suddenly became vigorous. Morgan, Semiramis, and Medusa were fine on their own. They were naturally cold and arrogant, speaking less. But Ishtar, the Thunder goddess who seemed to have come from the 7th singularity, did not speak so peacefully. She ignored her master, Kaguya Horazon, and walked directly to Su Chen. "I am the goddess Ishtar. That magician over there, are you interested in becoming my master?" As soon as these words were spoken, they instantly drew the death stares of the other people, especially Kaguya Horazon. Although Kaguya had already anticipated such a situation from the beginning and thought that if it were Su Chen, she wouldn't mind, when Ishtar left her and went to hit on Su Chen, she realized that she was very unhappy in her heart. And this unhappiness was not directed at Su Chen, but at the servant named Ishtar. "I am clearly your master. Is it just because Su Chen possesses such overwhelming charm that you're abandoning me, your original partner?" She thought to herself that although the other 4 servants who had just been summoned were also attracted to Su Chen, they still stood beside their masters in form. Only Ishtar took the initiative to attack, so Kaguya vowed not to let it slide. A sharp look flashed in Kaguya Horazon's eyes. "She is your master now. If you perform well in this Holy Grail War, it's not impossible for me to be your master after the Holy Grail War ends." Su Chen pointed at Kaguya Horazon behind Ishtar. While comforting Kaguya with his eyes, he also painted a grand picture for Ishtar. Ishtar didn't realize Su Chen was just giving her a lofty goal. After hearing this, she was instantly filled with motivation, eager to find the Black Faction servants right away. Morgan and Semiramis were thoughtful. Although they sensed Su Chen was dangling a carrot, it did not prevent them from thinking about how to perform well in the Holy Grail War to help Su Chen and the others seize the Holy Grail. Just then, Mordred, who was originally surprised that there were 2 Artorias in this Holy Grail War and that her mother Morgan had also appeared, suddenly realized that one of the Artorias seemed to be a servant of the Black Faction. That Artoria of the Black Faction, who held the Holy Sword, was someone she loved deeply and hated to the bone. In comparison, Artoria Pendragon Lancer beside Su Chen was more to her liking. Her temperament was steady and mature, possessing a kingly majesty that commanded respect without anger. She didn't seem like the rigid, perfect king, and she had her own personal desires. She was completely the ideal King Arthur in her heart. Chapter 30, Holy Grail War restarts. And now, she and Artoria Lancer were servants of the Red Faction, meaning they were on Su Chen's side. Artoria, on the other hand, was a servant of the Black Faction. Then wouldn't she have a legitimate reason to beat up her father king who didn't understand people's hearts, while also fighting alongside her ideal father king? This kind of arrangement was simply too good. Thinking of this, the sword in Mordred's hand was already itching for action. Just then, Morgan, who was beside her, reached out and stopped Mordred, saying in a deep voice, "Don't be rude, Mordred. Since a servant from the Black Faction has appeared in our Red Faction's camp and there's no fighting, there must be considerations from the masters. Don't ruin their plans." Saying this, Morgan's gaze turned towards Su Chen. As early as when they arrived, she had noticed the servant from the Black Faction appearing beside Su Chen and the others. It was just that seeing Su Chen getting along very well with Irisveal, with no intention of fighting at all, Morgan and the others didn't intervene. Now that Mordred, this hothead, wanted to act without thinking, Morgan, as her nominal mother, naturally had to step in to stop her from causing trouble and bringing problems to Su Chen. Seeing this, Mordred couldn't help but look at Su Chen. Although she is from the Black Faction, if you really count, Irisveal is also a master standing with our Red Faction, Su Chen explained with a smile. "Who? I thought Miss Irisveal was also a master of our Red Faction," Wang Xiaomei said, looking surprised. After all, she had just calculated that Irisveal, Su Chen, plus their 5 group members, would make exactly 7 master slots. I alone occupy 2 slots. Didn't I mention this in the group before? Saying this, Su Chen raised his arm and showed the command seals on the back of his hand to Wang Xiaomei and the others. "Okay, I forgot," Wang Xiaomei said with an awkward smile. "Then how should we proceed with the next task?" Saiko Busujima asked. "Let's rest now. The Holy Grail War only starts tonight. This is a good opportunity for you to use this free time to get to know your servants and learn some swordsmanship or magic from them. This way, even if you don't bring the servants back, your own strength will improve," Su Chen said with a smile. Hearing this, everyone nodded in agreement with Su Chen's idea. For example, Saiko Busujima could learn swordsmanship from Mordred to enhance her own skills. And Friaren could exchange magic with Semiramis, Morgan, or Merlin, learning the magic knowledge of this world to complement her own abilities and improve them. However, at this moment, Friaren said regretfully in a low voice, "I actually summoned an assassin. I thought I would summon a caster." She had learned about the group files related to the Type Moon world yesterday, but the time was still too short. She only remembered things related to the Holy Grail War, such as the 7 servant classes, but didn't know who the individual servants were or what abilities they had. Originally, she thought that with her identity as a mage, she should be able to summon a caster so that they would share common ground during the task. At least they would have common topics. But she didn't expect that she would actually summon an assassin. Could it be because she had hidden her magic power for so many years? "Although my class is assassin, I know a thing or two about magic," Semiramis said, raising an eyebrow when she heard Friaren's slightly regretful voice. She was a proud empress. Although Friaren's words didn't mean she was disappointed in her, she felt that Friaren was looking down on her abilities. Even if her class was assassin, who said an assassin couldn't use magic? She wouldn't say her magic was weak, and teaching the woman in front of her who looked like an elf would be no problem at all. Friaren was a little surprised to hear this, but being an elf who had lived for countless years, her surprise was fleeting, and she quickly calmed down. In the following period of time, everyone started to get busy. Wang Xiaomei, Saiko Busujima, and Lumine followed their servants to train. Friaren, on the other hand, exchanged magic knowledge with Semiramis and Merlin. As for Kaguya Horazon, she spent time with Su Chen, offering sweet words and enjoying his company. After all, relying solely on her own strength, she couldn't defeat Ishtar, who was an actual goddess. And Su Chen wasn't just dealing with Kaguya Horazon and Merlin. He also took the time to help Irisveal remove the Lesser Holy Grail. The process was direct and smooth. He shared a genuine moment with Irisveal, then utilized the third magic alongside restoration magic to completely preserve Irisveal's body and soul. Afterward, he used clairvoyance to observe the current situations of Emir Kiritsugu and Lord El Meloy Kenneth. He kept himself incredibly busy. Time flew by, and the sky grew dim. Night fell, and the stars twinkled like countless sparkling gems scattered on a dark blue curtain. The Holy Grail War began anew. Although only a day had passed, both the masters of the Red faction and the masters of the Black faction had already summoned their servants. Now, this 7-against-7 battle was about to commence. On top of a tall building in Fuyuki City, Su Chen left Merlin and Artoria Lancer at Einsburn Castle to guard Sakurama II. Then he came to the rooftop with Wang Xiaomei and the others to discuss tonight's strategy. Su Chen, what should we do next? Wang Xiaomei and the others all looked toward him. Su Chen had been here for a while and was thoroughly familiar with the layout of the Holy Grail War, so they naturally wanted his guidance. I believe you have all read the group files. Apart from Rhino Sukuryu not being on the master list, and Irisveal becoming a master, the masters and servants on the Black faction side are basically the original lineup. Oh, right, Kenneth's servant has changed. The servant he summoned is Cu Chularin, and Emir Kiritsugu's servant is Media, Su Chen briefly explained to the group. The reason he had spared Emir Kiritsugu earlier was to have him occupy a master position. Compared to fighting completely unknown opponents, a magician like Kiritsugu, whose background and tactics were known, was much easier to manage. Cu Chularin? Then should we defeat Lancer first? Wang Xiaomei's eyes lit up, and she suggested it with a smile. Unexpectedly, Diarmuid escaped being targeted this time, but Cu Chularin couldn't escape his destiny, Lumine noted, casting her vote in favor without hesitation. Seeing this, the others naturally had no objections. Seeing their agreement, Su Chen continued, the masters of the Black faction were previously hostile to each other, so they are still in a state of mutual suspicion and fighting individually. Although with our current strength we could steamroll this Holy Grail War, it's always better to play it safe. As Su Chen spoke, under the puzzled gazes of the group, he looked off to the side. Monica, you can come out now. Okay. A cheerful girlish voice suddenly sounded from the direction Su Chen was looking. Immediately after, a girl as beautiful and pure as an elf appeared in the sight of Wang Xiaomei and the others. In an instant, Morgan and the other servants couldn't help but show a hint of vigilance, their expressions becoming exceptionally solemn. This girl was remarkably strong, she was able to evade their perception completely, and even the magical barriers they had set up around the area were not triggered. It was clear that the strength of this young girl before them was far beyond that of an ordinary person. Chapter 31, Monica Saju wants a reward, Jean comes to find. Nice to meet you, Su Chen. My name is Monica Saju. Meeting you is the luckiest thing that has ever happened to Monica in her life. The pure maiden revealed a beautiful smile. In an instant, she received sharp glares from the girls present. They felt naturally defensive seeing another person show such clear affection toward Su Chen. Yes, as you can see, not only is Irisveal on our side, but Monica, as a master of the Black faction, has also joined our cause, Su Chen smiled and explained to Wang Xiaomei and the others. He then turned to look at Monica Saju. Monica, when the fight starts later, please convince Kirei Kotomine to step aside. You don't need to do too much, just take him to a local restaurant for some mapo tofu. I believe you know what to do. As soon as these words were spoken, Wang Xiaomei and the others looked at Su Chen speechlessly. His team's total strength was already massive, yet he still played his hand with absolute caution. Out of the 7 masters in the black faction, he had already turned 3 to his side. How were the remaining 4 masters supposed to stand a chance? Okay, as long as it's something Su Chen wants to do, Monica will help with all her heart. Monica Saju gave a sweet smile, then asked in a coy tone, then, Su Chen, seeing how hard I'm working, can you give me a small reward? After the Holy Grail War ends, you can stay with us and satisfy your curiosity. Ah, I wasn't talking about that. Su Chen, lean closer, and I'll whisper it to you. All right. Su Chen was curious about what Monica Saju wanted, so he didn't refuse. He bent down slightly and leaned his ear closer. Unexpectedly, Monica Saju suddenly turned her head and landed a quick kiss on Su Chen's cheek before pulling away with a playful smile. Thank you for the reward, Su Chen. Monica will take her leave first. As she was leaving, she also cast a provocative glance toward Wang Xiaomei and the others. Instantly, the girls were thoroughly annoyed. It was one thing for her to act fast, but she even dared to tease them as she left. Fortunately, Wang Xiaomei recognized that this maiden was none other than Monica Saju, who held a direct connection to the root. Ordinary magicians and servants couldn't easily match her abilities, keeping the group from impulsively stepping forward. Ahem, all right, that's how things stand, Su Chen said, clearing his throat. This Holy Grail War is listed as a 7-on-7, but in reality, it's 9 against 4. Prepare yourselves and take action. Speaking of this, Su Chen remembered one more detail. Oh, by the way, please capture Kenneth and Tokiomi Tosaka alive and bring them back. I still have a use for them. Okay. Although Wang Xiaomei and the others didn't know what Su Chen planned to do with Kenneth and Tokiomi Tosaka, they guessed it was related to his special abilities, so they didn't push for details. Everyone dispersed, taking their servants to find their designated opponents. Friaran and Semiramis went to locate Weber Velvet and Iskondo. Lumine and Medusa decided to deal with Emiya Kiritsugu and Media. Wang Xiaomei took Morgan to confront Kenneth and Cu Chularin. Kagaya Horizon and Psycho Busujima took their servants to face Gilgamesh. As for Su Chen, he took on a support role. If the battle situation went poorly anywhere, or if anyone encountered unexpected danger, he would immediately step in to assist. This plan was agreed upon with Wang Xiaomei and the others. With powerful servants by their side and Su Chen backing them up, they could safely treat the conflict as valuable combat training. And Su Chen could also use this opportunity to meet Kirei Kotomine and bind him to gain random trait acquisition chances. However, before going to see Kirei Kotomine, he still needed to face a roadblock standing in his way. Are you the master who illegally summoned a servant and expanded the scale of the Holy Grail War? A blonde servant holding a flag blocked Su Chen's path forward and questioned him with a serious expression. Yes, that's me, Su Chen replied without denying it, a playful smile appearing on his face as he retorted, may I ask what business you have, Jean? That's right, the person in front of him was the heroic spirit Jean d'Arc. She was summoned by the Great Holy Grail in the ruler class this time, acting as the judge of this Holy Grail War, supervising that the masters and servants do not cause too much damage to the city, and also to supervise whether the masters are engaging in illegal activities. Since he had modified this Holy Grail War into a 7-on-7 battle, it was only natural for a ruler to descend. Su Chen, I? Jean hadn't finished speaking when her stomach let out a loud rumble first. In an instant, Jean's cheeks were stained with a deep layer of red. Embarrassment flooded her heart, making her wish she could immediately find a crack in the ground to hide in. Her descent this time was by possessing a maiden named Letitia. She fought using her physical body, and therefore, at this moment, she would feel genuine hunger. After possessing Letitia, she had immediately taken a plane to Fuyuki City without stopping. She hadn't eaten anything during this time. The maiden herself had long been hungry, and Jean had simply endured it until now. Although she wouldn't perish because of this, she had actually shown such an embarrassing state in front of others. She really felt too embarrassed to face anyone. Su Chen let out an amused laugh. Although he tried to control himself, he still couldn't suppress the rising corners of his mouth. "Jean, if you don't mind, come with me. I'll treat you to a meal," Su Chen invited, unable to help but smile. He was going to the restaurant to see Kirei Kotomine anyway, so he might as well take Jean with him. "Okay, but let's make it clear first, don't think you can bribe me with a meal. If you violate the rules of the Holy Grail War in the future, I will still punish you," Jean said, accepting the offer. She was looking for Su Chen not to punish him immediately, but to warn him not to continue violating the rules of the Holy Grail War. If he was stubborn, she would then act. Now, since Su Chen had invited her, and so that Letitia wouldn't continue to starve, she accepted his invitation. Of course, Su Chen smiled nonchalantly. Su Chen took Jean to a restaurant opened by a Chinese chef. As soon as they entered the door, a rich, pungent smell of chili peppers hit them. At this moment, Kirei Kotomine was sitting at a table, eating extremely spicy noodles with big mouthfuls. In front of him were also 3 servings of extremely spicy mapo tofu. Although Kirei Kotomine was already sweating profusely and breathing heavily from the spiciness, he still enjoyed the extremely spicy food with great satisfaction. Seeing this, Su Chen chuckled lightly and took Jean to sit near Monica Saju. "Boss, I'll have a bowl of extremely spicy ramen and a plate of curry rice, please." Chapter 32, Jean D'Arc overthinks the situation. "Okay, it will be ready right away." The chef was slightly taken aback when he heard the familiar dialect, and then a warm smile appeared on his face. Soon, the ramen and curry rice Su Chen ordered were served. Jean, following the local customs, offered a polite word of thanks before quickly beginning to fill her stomach. Although she knew that Kirei Kotomine and Monica Saju in front of her were both masters of the Black Faction, neither of them had any intention of fighting Su Chen at the moment. Since that was the case, she naturally had to seize the time to satisfy her hunger. Meanwhile, Kirei Kotomine, who was sitting opposite, stopped his movements when he saw Su Chen planning to taste the extremely spicy noodles, watching Su Chen with expectant eyes. Su Chen was not flustered by this. He picked up the noodles from the pile of chili peppers in the bowl and put them into his mouth. In an instant, a wave of intense heat bloomed on his tongue and quickly began to spread. However, in the next moment, Su Chen's super adaptation ability began to work. In just a split second, Su Chen adapted completely to this level of spiciness. Neither his expression nor his complexion changed at all, remaining exactly the same as usual. Seeing this, a hint of disappointment flashed in Kirei Kotomine's eyes, as he did not see the reaction he had expected. However, he felt a deep sense of admiration for Su Chen in his heart. After all, swallowing extremely spicy noodles without changing one's expression, and even finishing all the soup and chili peppers, was something he himself could not do so easily. After the meal, Kirei Kotomine's mindset began to change. Upon seeing Su Chen's arrival, he knew that the person Monica Saju mentioned was the young man in front of him. It was he who had Monica Saju bring him to this place, helping him find the true meaning in his life. Thinking of this, Kirei Kotomine bowed slightly and thanked him solemnly. "Thank you very much for having someone bring me here, letting me know what I should do next. If you ever need my help in the future, just come find me, and I will do my best to assist you." After their conversation, Kirei Kotomine went to ask the chef for cooking knowledge, planning to change professions and become a Mapo priest. However, before Su Chen left, Kirei Kotomine also transferred the command seals of Hassan of the 100 Personas to Su Chen. This also meant that he officially gave up participating in this Holy Grail War. Leaving the restaurant, Su Chen had Hassan of the 100 Personas appear, bound him to the system, and then used the command seals Kirei Kotomine gave him to strengthen Hassan of the 100 Personas. Finally, he sent him to monitor Gilgamesh's movements, just to annoy the King of Heroes. After Hassan of the 100 Personas left, Jean said with genuine emotion, "Su Chen, thank you very much for your hospitality. I saw everything that happened just now, and you are not as terrible as I imagined." Originally, when she learned that the master who expanded the scale of the Holy Grail War was Su Chen, she thought that the other party was a magician with a ruthless personality. After all, who would deliberately expand the scale of the Holy Grail War without cause? The battles between servants were no joke, and if one was not careful, the entire city could be damaged. But when she saw him helping Kirei Kotomine dispel the confusion in his heart and find his true self, she realized that Su Chen was not as terrible as she had imagined, nor was he a bloodthirsty individual. On the contrary, he was a handsome, remarkably charming young man. Just as guidance brings light to people in darkness and dispels the confusion in their hearts, he was also helping lost people find direction in their lives, even when that person was technically his opponent. What great mercy this was! At this moment, she suddenly felt that the reason she was summoned as a ruler by the Great Holy Grail wasn't just to supervise the progress of the Holy Grail War. There had to be a higher purpose in this. Guiding her to meet Su Chen here was meant to ensure he didn't go down the wrong path or face a destructive end, keeping him on the right track. Looking at Jean, who suddenly began to pray, Su Chen felt a strange sense that she was misinterpreting things. He stared at Jean for a long moment, as his intuition told him that Jean was overthinking his actions in a very unusual way. Su Chen, after tonight, will I be able to stay by your side? At this moment, Monica Saju looked at Su Chen with expectant eyes. Yes, tonight I will end the Holy Grail War, Su Chen said steadily. As soon as these words were spoken, Jean, who was originally praying, immediately began to imagine his grand plan. So that's it, I understand now. The reason you changed the rules of the Holy Grail War is to make the originally hostile masters form a disorganized team. Then, you let the people you trust become masters, having them lead their servants to defeat the servants of the Black Faction one by one to quickly conclude this war. You did all of this to free the residents living in Fuyuki City from suffering and ensure they are no longer endangered by the Holy Grail War. Your mercy and tolerance bring endless gentleness to the people around you. Saying this, Jean actually knelt down on one knee in front of Su Chen, assuming a praying posture. Su Chen stood there quietly. Seeing this scene, he was completely bewildered, not knowing why Jean was reacting like this. However, what was certain was that Jean had definitely overthought things. She had completely reinterpreted his practical decisions as a noble mission to save people from suffering. He just didn't understand why Jean would suddenly become like this. Could it be that his charm ability also had the side effect of making people overthink? In truth, this was a conflict between Jean's admiration and her faith. His strong personal charm made Jean, Merlin, and Artoria Lancer develop a great fondness for Su Chen. However, when the actions of the person she admired seemed unusual, her mind automatically began to fill in noble justifications for Su Chen's choices. Su Chen, coming to this realization, couldn't help but sigh softly. He shook his head, quickly composed himself, cast aside extraneous thoughts, and used clairvoyance to observe Wang Xiaomei's situation. At this time, Frieran had already finished her battle and was taking Semiramis to support Kaguya Horazon and the others against Gilgamesh. Even if Gilgamesh was being arrogant and holding back his full power, it was still very difficult for Kaguya Horazon and the others to defeat him on their own. Moreover, they had already agreed that as soon as someone finished their battle, they would immediately bring their servant to support another group member, combining their forces to overwhelm Gilgamesh before he could use his full power. As for Wang Xiaomei's side, Su Chen was proving remarkably resilient. He had fought Morgan for about 10 minutes and still hadn't fallen. Of course, besides Su Chen's own strength, this was also due to Morgan holding back. She could see that Su Chen seemed to have a strong interest in collecting servants, so she focused on keeping Lancer occupied rather than eliminating him immediately. As for Lumine and Medusa's side, a slight accident had occurred. At this moment, they were bringing the defeated Media and an injured Emir Kiritsugu toward his location. Seeing this situation, Su Chen activated imaginary element magic, using spatial transfer to bring Lumine, Medusa, Media, and Kiritsugu directly in front of him. Chapter 33, Binding Media and Su Chen. Suddenly transferred in front of Su Chen, before Lumine could even speak, Paimon immediately exclaimed in surprise. "Who? Isn't this Su Chen? How did we suddenly get here? However, Paimon wasn't someone who dwelt on details, especially since they now had something important to tell Su Chen. After her initial surprise, Paimon immediately got straight to the point. Su Chen, look who we brought for you. Saying this, little Paimon excitedly pointed at Emiya Kiritsugu and Media. According to Media, Emiya Kiritsugu held a grudge against Su Chen. Since she was preparing to align with Su Chen, she planned to capture Emiya Kiritsugu and hand him over for disposal. Regarding this, Lumine knew the other party wasn't lying when she saw Media. Although she was known in myth as the Witch of Betrayal, Lumine, who had read the group files, understood her true nature. Media took a direct approach, responding to Emiya Kiritsugu's summon to first descend into the world, then using her noble phantasm, Rule Breaker, to sever her contract with Kiritsugu and go find Su Chen. When Media heard Emiya Kiritsugu planning how to deal with Su Chen, she immediately prepared a backstabbing operation. Therefore, when Lumine found Emiya Kiritsugu, Media directly turned on him, brought him before Lumine, and requested to be taken to Su Chen. Lumine briefly explained the whole situation to Su Chen, and then took Medusa to support Kaguya Horazon and the others. Media, meanwhile, grew nervous standing in front of Su Chen. She knew her reputation in mythological records was poor, especially after backstabbing her original master. Wouldn't this just make Su Chen think the records were correct? Just as Media was thinking somewhat dejectedly, Su Chen walked up to her and gently took her hand. No need to say more, I understand what you mean. Declare. Su Chen recited the incantation to form a contract with Media. Seeing this, Media couldn't help but tear up. A joyful smile appeared on her face as she spoke. In the name of Caster, I accept your contract. From now on, you are my master. I, Media, swear here that I will be your most loyal and capable magician. After the contract was complete, Media glanced at Emiya Kiritsugu lying on the ground and asked, Master, how should we deal with this guy? Now that Kiritsugu was in Su Chen's hands, his fate would naturally be decided by Su Chen. Killing him like this is meaningless. Death is a form of release for him, Su Chen noted, glancing at Emiya Kiritsugu. He knew exactly how Kiritsugu thought. To save the majority, he would eliminate the few without hesitation. That was his justice. Even if his father, childhood friend, and mentor died along his path, he never abandoned that mindset. Therefore, simply taking his life wouldn't bring him genuine remorse, instead, it would grant him peace. It would be far more fitting to let him witness the reality of the Holy Grail, breaking his illusions directly. Thinking of this, Su Chen had Media take Kiritsugu, then turned and gave Monica Saju a gentle head pat as comfort. Monica, please go help my teammates first, I'll be right there. Okay, Monica Saju replied with a satisfied smile. She then summoned her servant, Minamoto no Uramitsu, and went with her to support Kaguya Horazon and the others. Seeing this, Su Chen brought up the system interface. 3 more people needed, Su Chen muttered to himself. In this Holy Grail war, the remaining key individuals left to bind were Tokiomi Tosaka, Kenneth, and Cu Chularin. Once these 3 were processed, the mission goals for this world would be complete. As for the corruption within the Holy Grail, he already had a plan in mind. Su Chen first had Media take the Lesser Grail and Kiritsugu to the location of the Great Holy Grail in Fuyuki Central Park, so Kiritsugu could witness the truth of the Grail firsthand. Then he took Jean to Wang Xiaomei's location. At the same time, in the hotel where Kenneth was staying, Wang Xiaomei brought Morgan directly here and engaged in battle with Cu Chularin and Kenneth. While Morgan fought Cu Chularin, Wang Xiaomei took on Kenneth directly. After her previous missions, Wang Xiaomei's personal strength had been substantially enhanced. Bang! Wang Xiaomei stepped forward, her figure closing the distance in an instant. She delivered a firm strike, breaking past the Mystic Code's defenses and landing a heavy hit on Kenneth's torso. Kenneth cried out in pain as his body crashed backward against the wall. At this point, Kenneth had been struggling against Wang Xiaomei for over 10 minutes. Neither his magecraft nor his prized mystic code could breach her defenses, leaving him completely overwhelmed until he finally lost consciousness. Phew. I'm actually getting used to fighting bare-handed, Wang Xiaomei said, catching her breath. She still remembered Su Chen mentioning that Kenneth was useful for his plans and needed to be kept alive, so she made sure to restrain her force. Speaking of which, Lancer is remarkably resilient to last this long, Wang Xiaomei noted, looking through the gap in the wall toward the distance, where Morgan and Su Chen were clashing across the rooftops. Just then, Su Chen's voice sounded right beside her. The battle here was quite lively. Whoa! Wang Xiaomei startled, letting out a sharp gasp. Can you make some noise before stepping up like that? I didn't walk here, I used spatial transfer, Su Chen replied calmly, opening a small rift in the air to demonstrate. Seeing this, a look of envy appeared on Wang Xiaomei's face. Must be nice becoming so strong so quickly. I've been working at this for over half a year and just recently reached a comfortable level. You are the chat group admin, steady growth is guaranteed over time, Su Chen offered reassuringly while using the system to bind Kenneth. Then he focused his attention on Su Chen in the distance. The distance is a bit far. That's the one constraint of this range, Su Chen noted, raising his arm as his magical energy began to surge. Chapter 34, A Neutralizing the World's Evil. Meanwhile, across the rooftops, Su Chen gathered his magical power and thrust his spear with immense force, aiming straight for Morgan. Morgan had already prepared her countermeasure, planning to subdue Su Chen the moment he closed in and bring him to Su Chen. However, she didn't expect a spatial rift to open directly in front of Su Chen mid-charge. What? The sudden obstruction caught Su Chen completely off guard. Unable to stop his momentum, his entire body charged directly into the spatial rift. Seeing Su Chen disappear into the rift, Morgan realized what had happened and looked back toward the hotel. Su Chen has arrived. Morgan murmured softly, before heading back to join him. System prompt, congratulations to the host for successfully binding Su Chen, Lancer. Hearing the prompt, Su Chen transferred Su Chen from the storage space directly into the broader dimensional rift space. Thank you for your assistance, Morgan, Su Chen said with a smile as she returned. Just verbal thanks? Won't you offer a proper reward? Morgan raised an eyebrow slightly, a light smile touching her lips. Once the Holy Grail War concludes, you can name your reward, Su Chen replied smoothly. Seeing Su Chen and Morgan exchanging glances, Wang Xiaomei interrupted, Hey, now isn't the time for banter. The Holy Grail War isn't finished yet. You all head over to support the fight against Gilgamesh. I'll handle the corrupted Grail contents, Su Chen instructed. Are you sure you'll be fine? Wang Xiaomei asked, showing a hint of concern. Don't worry. Even if unexpected difficulties arise, I can always summon the Lion King using a command seal to settle it in one strike, Su Chen reassured her. Wang Xiaomei nodded, realizing her concern was misplaced given his preparations. She quickly departed with Morgan to join the main group. In the open area of Fuyuki Central Park. As servants were defeated, their spiritual energy gathered into the Lesser Holy Grail, activating the ritual and manifesting the Great Holy Grail above the park. Originally, when Emir Kiritsugo saw the Grail appear, he ran toward it, intent on making a wish for world peace. However, the corrupted energy pulled his consciousness into a mental space, forcing him to relive his past actions repeatedly. Experiencing those memories within the rift made him realize the true nature of the vessel. The object he had considered an omnipotent wish-granting machine was completely tainted by malice. At this moment, his ideal completely collapsed. Su Chen and Jean stepped through the spatial rift and arrived at the clearing, finding Emir Kiritsugo kneeling on the ground, entirely despondent. Well, advocate of justice, how does it feel seeing the Grail in this state? Su Chen remarked plainly, stepping forward. Take my life if you wish. Just please, do not let that malice descend upon Fuyuki City, Emir Kiritsugo said weakly, prostrating himself. Your life holds no value to me. If you have lost the will to continue, that is your own choice. As for that substance, I won't allow it to spread, Su Chen said, his tone growing serious as he looked at the hovering vessel. Master, the energy within the Grail is extremely unstable, Media warned. Su Chen, let Caster and me handle this. Touching that directly as a human is far too dangerous, Jean added, stepping forward. Both servants could clearly sense the intense malice emanating from the structure. Don't worry, I have a proper method to deal with it, Su Chen replied, declining their intervention. Master, do you plan to use spatial magic to send the entire vessel into the dimensional void? Media asked curiously. No, disposing of it like that would be a waste of resources, Su Chen replied with a calm smile. Then what is your plan? Jean asked, watching him closely. It's simple, I'll absorb and neutralize it directly, Su Chen stated. Before Media or Jean could react, Su Chen's figure shifted, drawing the corrupted energy of the Grail directly into himself. Master! Su Chen! Both Media and Jean called out in alarm. I'm fine. Give it just a moment, Su Chen reassured them calmly. As the energy integrated into his body, a heavy wave of negative intent attempted to overwhelm his mind. However, Su Chen's super adaptation ability activated immediately. Not only did he neutralize the corruptive effects of Angra Mainyu's malice, but he also completely absorbed its energy, returning the core structure of the Grail to a clean, stable state. Media quickly stepped forward, using her magecraft to inspect Su Chen's physical and spiritual condition thoroughly. Finding no abnormalities, and noting his energy reserves were exceptionally stable, she finally let out a sigh of relief. Next time you attempt something so risky, please inform us first, Media said softly. Have a little more trust in my capabilities, Su Chen replied with a faint smile. Jean, having observed the process, also relaxed her posture. You managed to neutralize the threat to Fuyuki City directly. That is truly impressive, Jean acknowledged, walking up to him. What are your plans now? As a ruler, she could sense the status of the servants throughout the city. In the parallel battle, Gilgamesh had delayed using his full power, giving Wang Xiaomei, Kagaya, and the rest of the group the opening they needed. Combining their noble phantasms, including Artoria utilizing Excalibur with Avalon restored, they successfully defeated Gilgamesh and sent him back to the Hall of Heroes. With the remaining Black Faction masters already aligned with Su Chen, the conflict had effectively reached its conclusion. Chapter 35, The Holy Grail War concludes. I have secured complete control over the vessel, Su Chen said, extending his hand toward Jean and Media. If you are willing, remain as my servants. It would be my pleasure, Media responded without hesitation, placing her hand in his. Jean hesitated slightly. I descended into this world by possessing a host, so I cannot make this decision entirely on my own. Although she wished to stay, the girl whose body she inhabited had her own life and family. I am willing. I want to stay by Mr. Su Chen's side, Letitia's voice echoed clearly within Jean's mind. Letitia had remained conscious throughout the events, witnessing Su Chen's actions, his guidance toward Kirei Kotomine, and his resolution in absorbing the corrupted Grail to protect the city. The young maiden had developed a deep admiration for him. Feeling Letitia's genuine resolve, a warm smile appeared on Jean's face. Letitia is fully willing to stay. The question is whether Su Chen is willing to take us in. Of course. Over the next few days, I will arrange the necessary documentation so Letitia can transfer and study here comfortably. You should also visit your family to explain the arrangements, Su Chen replied, his gaze looking past Jean to address Letitia directly. Understood, Letitia answered softly from within. Suddenly, a quiet gunshot echoed through the park. Su Chen and the others turned to look and saw that Emir Kiritsugu had ended his own life with his weapon. Having witnessed the resolution of the corrupted Grail and realizing the end of his path, Kiritsugu chose to conclude his journey. Su Chen remained silent for a moment, then opened a brief spatial rift to place Kiritsugu's body respectfully beneath the soil before taking Jean and Media to rejoin the rest of the group. Inside Einsburn Castle. Wang Xiaomei and the others had brought Tokiomi Tosaka back to the hall. Through the chat group notifications, they already knew Su Chen had resolved the crisis at the park, and were waiting for his arrival. "Sakura? You're all right?" Tokiomi Tosaka exclaimed in surprise upon seeing Sakura Matu alive and well in the castle. He had assumed his daughter had perished during the destruction of the Matu household earlier in the week. "Did Su Chen bring you here?" Tokiomi asked hastily. Ever since the initial night of the war, the Tosaka family and the church had been investigating Su Chen, but could find no background records on him, as if he had appeared out of nowhere. Now that the Black faction had collapsed and he was brought here as a captive, he never expected to find his daughter unharmed. However, hearing Tokiomi's tone, Wang Xiaomei's expression darkened. "Watch how you phrase things. If Su Chen hadn't stepped in to save Sakura, do you think she would be standing here safely today?" Wang Xiaomei said sharply. "Saved her? What do you mean?" Tokiomi asked, taken aback. The Matu family was corrupted long ago. Zoken Matu was originally Markiri Zoljan, using parasitic crest insects to extend his life across centuries. The Matu household was nothing more than an insect pit created for his survival. What do you think would have happened to Sakura if she had stayed there? Did you even investigate before sending her away? Wang Xiaomei questioned sternly. "I?" Tokiomi opened his mouth to explain his reasoning, but as his gaze fell upon Sakura, he saw her shrink back and hide behind Artoria. Seeing his own biological daughter react to him with instinctual fear, the words caught in his throat. He realized that regardless of his noble family justifications, his decision had left a deep scar on the child's heart, making any further explanation meaningless. Chapter 36, You see, he still has to thank me. Just as the atmosphere inside Einsburn Castle turned quiet, Su Chen and the other two emerged from the spatial rift. "Tokiomi Tosaka, we finally meet," Su Chen said, spotting Tokiomi kneeling on the ground as if admitting his mistake. Looking at the expressions of the servants around him, Su Chen immediately understood that Tokiomi had found out about the Matu family's actions. However, he didn't dwell on it. After using the system to bind Tokiomi Tosaka, he prepared to resolve the matter. "Big brother, please don't send me back." Sakura Matu quickly ran to Su Chen's side and hugged him. "All right, I won't send you back," Su Chen replied, picking up Sakura Matu and comforting her with a gentle smile. "Mr. Su Chen, thank you very much for saving Sakura. I know I am not qualified to speak now, but I still hope you can be kind to Sakura and my family," Tokiomi Tosaka pleaded. As a magician, he knew better than anyone how harsh their world could be. Therefore, he did not ask Su Chen to release him for Sakura's sake. Instead, he chose to request that Su Chen refrain from harming Aoi Tosaka and Rin Tosaka on his account. "For Sakura's sake, I naturally will not harm Aoi or Rin. Likewise, I will train Sakura into an excellent magician, so you can rest assured about that," Su Chen said calmly. Even if Tokiomi Tosaka hadn't brought it up, Su Chen would still take care of Aoi, Rin, and Sakura Matu. "As for you, for Sakura's sake, I can help you fulfill the Tosaka family's long-held wish and use the Holy Grail to help you reach the root," Su Chen said with a composed expression. Hearing this, the others present immediately showed unusual expressions. They didn't think Su Chen was acting out of pure saintly kindness, rather, they felt his approach was remarkably calculating. His words sounded noble on the surface, helping the Tosaka family fulfill their generations-old desire to reach the root. However, the servants and chat group members present were well aware of what reaching the root entailed. Setting aside the opposition from the counter-force, human beings could not easily process that realm. Tokiomi Tosaka was a magician of standard talent. Exposed directly to the overwhelming information and energy of the root, his mind and body would instantly collapse under the infinite knowledge. In short, Su Chen was sending Tokiomi Tosaka to his end while casually offering to care for his family in his absence. Tokiomi Tosaka, however, did not grasp this reality. When he heard Su Chen say he would use the Holy Grail to send him to the root, immense joy surged in his heart. He looked at Su Chen in disbelief. "Is this true, Mr. Su Chen?" Are you really willing to use the Holy Grail to send me to the route? Tokiomi Tosaka asked eagerly for confirmation. Of course. Vessels like the Holy Grail are easily accessible to me. Using one to send you to the route is no trouble at all. As Su Chen spoke, a golden ripple opened in front of him, and a pristine Holy Grail rolled out to Tokiomi Tosaka's feet. Su Chen was not exaggerating. Ever since his treasury ability evolved into the collector of myriad realms via his dimensional storage, his collection space held every construct and noble phantasm that had ever manifested in the type moon world. Taking out a Holy Grail to send Tokiomi Tosaka off consumed no lasting resources, as his collection space automatically replenished itself. Doing so secured Sakura's full trust while permanently resolving Tokiomi's presence. Looking at the familiar golden ripple, Tokiomi Tosaka's eyes widened. As Gilgamesh's former master, he recognized the phenomenon instantly. Although he didn't know how Su Chen commanded such power, reaching the route was his sole focus. Holy Grail, send Tokiomi Tosaka to the route, Su Chen commanded softly. The Holy Grail floated into the air, its vast magical energy opening a swirling spatial rift next to Su Chen and Tokiomi Tosaka. Overwhelmed with gratitude, Tokiomi Tosaka bowed deeply before departing. Thank you very much, Mr. Su Chen. I will never forget your generosity. I swear in the name of the 5th-generation head of the Tosaka family that our line will support you unconditionally. When I return from the route, I will express my gratitude again. Also, please take good care of my wife and daughter while I am away. Tokiomi promised solemnly. Seeing this, Su Chen felt a faint touch of irony, but kept his composure as he shook hands with Tokiomi Tosaka. Don't worry, I will take proper care of your family, Su Chen said, suppressing a smile. I leave them in your hands. Tokiomi Tosaka turned around without hesitation and walked into the spatial rift. The moment he stepped through, the rift closed, leaving the castle quiet once more. Su Chen gave Merlin a quick nod. Merlin understood instantly and used her magic to gently put Sakura Matu to sleep. With the child resting, Su Chen and the group members could no longer suppress their light chuckles. The only ones who seemed confused were Irisveal and Friaren, who had only joined the group recently. Friaren looked at the amused expressions around her and asked plainly, "Why is everyone so pleased?" Kaguya Horizon leaned over to Friaren's ear and quietly explained the nature of the route to her. After listening, Friaren's expression remained calm, though her gaze toward Su Chen carried a subtle look of quiet realization. Chapter 37, Sorting Out the Rewards and the Clan Contract. Ahem. Su Chen cleared his throat softly, returning everyone's focus to the matter at hand. In short, the Holy Grail War is concluded, and our mission is complete. Everyone can rest here for the night, and we will host a banquet to celebrate our victory. Everyone agreed warmly. As the castle staff began preparing food in the kitchen, Su Chen carried Sakura Matu back to her room to rest before returning to the main hall to discuss the remaining details with Wang Xiaomei and the others. Wang Xiaomei and her companions had already spoken with their summoned servants. As expected, none of the servants wished to return to separate worlds, preferring to remain by Su Chen's side. The banquet lasted over an hour. Wang Xiaomei and the others declined to stay longer, as they needed to return to their respective worlds to manage their own affairs. Wang Xiaomei submitted the completed mission to the chat group system. Group notification: Group leader Wang Xiaomei has submitted the mission. Mission Content 1, End the Holy Grail War, completed. Rewards: Wang Xiaomei received 7,000 points and gold chest times 3, Su Chen received 11,000 points and gold chest times 3. Mission Content 2, Eliminate this world's evil, completed. Rewards: Su Chen received 200,000 points and platinum chest times 3. With the mission formally finalized, Wang Xiaomei and the others bade farewell and returned to their home worlds. Su Chen opened the chat group interface, which immediately lit up with activity. Wang Xiaomei, wait a minute. Why did I get 1,000 fewer points than you guys? Su Chen, perhaps because Cu Chularin was neutralized through my space transfer, so the system attributed the final credit differently. Wang Xiaomei, unbelievable. Lumine, Su Chen, you stayed mostly in a supporting role before handling the Grail core directly, yet your reward total is massive. Kagaya Horizon, that makes complete sense. Su Chen provided the summoning setup, brought 3 black faction masters to our side, and streamlined the entire war. His contribution score was bound to be the highest. Frieren, the opponent in the golden armor at the end, was still quite persistent. If he had acted at full power earlier, the fight would have taken much longer. Psycho Busujima, true, but working together allowed us to manage it smoothly. It served as excellent practical training. Looking at the active chat, Su Chen smiled lightly and began reviewing his total gains. First were his rewards from the chat group, 200,000 points, 3 platinum chests, and 3 gold chests. Su Chen invested all 200,000 points directly into strengthening his super adaptation trait. A clear surge of growth passed through him, significantly elevating his adaptability and bringing the trait much closer to its next evolutionary threshold. Next, he opened all 6 treasure chests simultaneously. System notification, congratulations! You have obtained the clan contract, gold. System notification, congratulations! You have obtained the resurrection divine art, gold. System notification, congratulations! You have obtained additional consumable supplies? Reviewing his items, Su Chen noted that most of the secondary materials were standard, but 2 rewards stood out sharply, the clan contract and the resurrection divine art. The clan contract functioned similarly to the divine blessings found in Danmachi. It could grant enhanced growth to individuals who signed it, raising their potential limits. As those under the contract grew stronger, Su Chen's own foundational power would increase in tandem. More importantly, as long as a person signed the contract, Su Chen could revive them directly through its power if they ever fell in battle. The resurrection divine art, meanwhile, allowed him to restore a deceased individual provided a trace of their soul remained. Combined, these 2 abilities offered extraordinary utility and security. Satisfied, Su Chen opened his system trait interface to check his character bindings. Host, Su Chen. Bound special characters, Morgan, Media, Cu Chularin, Tokiomi Tosaka, and others, total, 41 individuals. Exclusive traits, Resurrection Divine Art, Gold, Clan Contract, Gold, Super Adaptation, Crown Rank Succubus. 17 new bound characters from this event, Su Chen noted, initializing the trait acquisition process. System notification, congratulations! You have obtained the trait Tiamat's Favor, gold. System notification, congratulations! You have obtained the trait Rune Mastery, orange. Su Chen's attention focused on the gold tier trait. Tiamat's Favor fundamentally adjusted the primordial mother's intrinsic affection, shifting her maternal devotion directly toward Su Chen. In essence, it acted as a massive amplification to his existing charm and presence. Su Chen integrated the new trait smoothly into his status. While it didn't dramatically alter his physical strength, its influence on his personal presence was immediate. Just as he was testing the subtle shift in his aura, footsteps echoed outside, and his door burst open. Master! Save me! Merlin rushed into the room, diving straight behind Su Chen. Close behind her came Morgan, Artoria Lancer, and several other servants. Most were simply watching the commotion with amused expressions, but the British servants carried frosty looks, their sharp eyes locked firmly on Merlin. Seeing this setup, Su Chen knew immediately that Merlin had brought trouble upon herself again. However, before addressing her prank, Su Chen turned his eyes toward Morgan and asked calmly, Morgan, setting Merlin aside for a second, do you notice anything different about me right now? Morgan and the surrounding servants paused, their eyes focusing intently on Su Chen. Before them stood a handsome young man with dark hair and striking eyes, but as they looked at him, an overwhelming, magnetic pull seemed to hold their gaze, making it nearly impossible to look away. Chapter 38, Binding the Servants and a New Challenge. Master, what did you do? Your aura has risen to another level entirely. I feel that if this continues, even Tiamat and the counter-force won't be able to resist your presence. Merlin leaned close behind Su Chen, her eyes glittering with clear amusement. Morgan's face instantly darkened as she watched Merlin's actions become increasingly bold. She immediately cast a spell, binding Merlin in place beside her. "Move over here. We will settle our matter later." Morgan glared sharply at Merlin. Then, her expression softening, she turned to Su Chen. "Master, is there anything else you require from us?" "There is, in fact," Su Chen pondered for a moment before asking, "Are you willing to join my clan?" Su Chen proceeded to explain the concept of the clan and the mechanics of the clan contract to Morgan and the surrounding servants. Hearing his explanation, bright smiles appeared on their faces. "Of course we are willing. I doubt anyone here would refuse," Semiramis remarked, her gaze sweeping over the servants assembled in the hall. She understood clearly that the sole reason so many servants remained in this world was Su Chen himself. Joining his clan was an offer no servant present would decline. "How is this contract applied?" Medusa asked, stepping forward with quiet curiosity. By now, Medusa had swapped her battle armor for modern attire, a sleek black long-sleeved top paired with dark-fitted trousers that showcased her tall frame. She wore a pair of dark-framed glasses over her eyes, which served to seal her petrifying gaze while giving her a refined, intellectual appearance. A subtle look of appreciation flashed in Su Chen's eyes before he offered a brief explanation. "Wait, isn't that just a direct energetic imprint?" Merlin's face lit up with sudden excitement. "You were calling me out earlier, yet here you are setting up something even more permanent." "Well, if it's for Master, I completely agree." Before Merlin could finish her dramatic declaration, Su Chen cast a rune to silence her voice, while simultaneously reinforcing her magical bindings. Merlin wriggled in frustration, but under the combined weight of Su Chen's runes and Morgan's magic, she couldn't break free. Observing Merlin's quiet struggle, Morgan let out a pleased hum. "Master, where do you intend to place the contract mark?" Morgan reached out, her slender fingers gently tilting Su Chen's chin upward. Her aura shifted instantly into that of a commanding sovereign, her gaze locked onto his as if anticipating a flustered reaction. Su Chen, however, did not flinch. Raising an eyebrow slightly, he returned the question with composure. "Where would you prefer the clan contract to be placed?" "Well." Morgan feigned calm consideration, though a faint hint of surprise passed through her eyes. She had expected Su Chen to show a moment of hesitation under her strong posture, but he remained entirely unfazed. Of course, she had no actual intention of placing the mark anywhere inappropriate. Her commanding stance was merely a playful test in front of the other servants. Yet having taken the initiative so boldly, her pride as the High Princess of Britain prevented her from suddenly backing down and looking flustered. The process of applying the contract was straightforward, even if the servants took turns teasing Su Chen throughout the procedure. After completing the imprints for the entire group, Su Chen let out a quiet sigh of relief. Seeing him take a moment to compose himself, Semiramis stepped forward with a playful smile, casually raising a challenge that sparked a friendly sparring match among the servants. Wanting to test their newly boosted capabilities against their master, the servants joined in one after another to challenge Su Chen. However, Su Chen's underlying physical and magical parameters far exceeded their expectations. Even after a full cycle of intense combat, he remained completely energized and composed, while the servants ended up thoroughly exhausted. By the following morning, Su Chen stepped out into the hallway and encountered Irisveal. "Good morning, Irisveal," Su Chen greeted with a warm smile. "Gee, good morning." Irisveal blushed faintly, mumbling her greeting before quickly turning to tend to castle duties. "Su Chen, you truly operate on another level," a voice called out from the side. Ayaka Saju stepped out from around the corner, her eyes fixed on him with a subtle, dramatic pout. "The Holy Grail war barely ended, yet you managed to keep every servant in the castle completely occupied all day and night. Do you need me to help you recover your energy?" "My apologies, Ayaka." The servants were quite eager to test their strength after the contract, so it took some time to help them settle down. Su Chen offered an apologetic smile. "Do you have any particular wish?" As long as it is within my capability, I can fulfill it for you. He recognized that after receiving her assistance earlier, leaving her unattended in the castle was somewhat neglectful. Let me see. Ayaka Saju paused, adopting a thoughtful expression before a sweet smile broke across her face. Just let me join Su Chen's clan as well. Is that all? Su Chen looked at her with slight surprise, having expected a far more demanding request. Of course. What sort of request were you expecting, Su Chen? Ayaka leaned forward slightly, looking up at him with a mischievous tilt of her head, her demeanor shifting into that of a playful junior. I thought you might ask for something far more complex, Su Chen replied directly, remaining composed. Well, I am greedy, Ayaka murmured, her eyes flashing with intense focus for a split second before her expression softened back into that of a gentle, ordinary girl. I know you wouldn't set anyone aside, Su Chen. So my request is actually very simple, take me on a date. Chapter 39, Encountering Aoi Tosaka. Ayaka Saju tilted her head, her smile bright and infectious. Su Chen looked at her deeply. He understood her nature well. As someone connected to the root since birth, her view of the world operated on entirely different principles than standard human logic. It's a good thing I have the secondary function of the clan contract active, Su Chen thought to himself. Beyond increasing potential and granting revival capabilities, the clan contract possessed a stabilizing feature. It maximized internal harmony among clan members, preventing harmful intent or destructive plotting against one another while suppressing volatile impulses. All right, let's complete your contract first, Su Chen nodded. Hearing this, Ayaka cupped her cheeks, a light flush rising on her face. Is Su Chen so eager? Well, I suppose I am eager as well. Su Chen chose not to comment further, proceeding directly with the contract to ensure her emotional state remained entirely grounded. By early afternoon, Su Chen stepped out into the courtyard, feeling completely clear-headed. Interacting with someone connected to the root allowed him to process massive streams of underlying magical information, expanding his understanding of fundamental principles. Big brother! As soon as he stepped outside, Sakura Matu ran up to his side and held onto his coat. Ever since seeing Tokiomi Tosaka again, the child had been feeling lingering anxiety, worried she might be sent back to a harsh environment. Only beside Su Chen did she feel completely secure. It's all right, Sakura. Your father has already departed, and I will not send you away, Su Chen said, picking her up gently. Let's go out and enjoy the afternoon. With the Holy Grail War concluded, taking Sakura out to experience normal life was important for her well-being. Sakura nodded happily. As Su Chen prepared to head out, the Lion King and Merlin stepped forward, intending to accompany them. However, Su Chen stopped them with a wave of his hand. You two should stay at the castle. If protection is needed, Medusa and Minamoto no Uramitsu can come along. Wait, Master! Why specifically choose Medusa and Minamoto no Uramitsu? Semiramis questioned with a light, dramatic huff. Are any of us less capable? Exactly. Merlin added teasingly. You always assign the interesting outings to others. Su Chen looked at Merlin with a calm, unimpressed expression. If you were a bit less prone to causing chaotic mischief, I would include you on casual outings more often. Turning to the group, Su Chen issued clear instructions. Media, Morgan, Merlin, and Semiramis, I need the four of you to establish a permanent defensive and offensive magical barrier around the castle today. Since this location will serve as our long-term base, securing the ley line and territory is top priority. With their immense mastery over magecraft, the four casters were uniquely suited for territory creation. Meanwhile, leaving the Lion King behind ensured that any sudden pranks from Merlin would be handled firmly. Bringing Medusa and Minamoto no Uramitsu along provided Sakura with mature, comforting figures to help fill the emotional gap left by her past. Shortly after, Su Chen and Sakura set off, accompanied by Medusa and Minamoto no Uramitsu. They spent the entire afternoon at the local amusement park, riding the carousel, bumper cars, and exploring various attractions. Laughter and bright smiles filled the day, creating the quiet picture of a happy family excursion. As the evening sun began to cast golden light across the city, the group prepared to head back toward the castle. "Sakura, did you enjoy today?" Su Chen asked with a smile, carrying her on his shoulders. Sakura nodded happily, looking down at Su Chen with complete trust. "Master, evening is approaching. We should begin heading back," Minamoto no Uramitsu suggested gently. However, as they turned down a peaceful street near the residential district, the quiet atmosphere was broken by a sudden gasp. A shopping bag dropped to the ground with a soft thud. Aoi Tosaka stood a short distance away, her hand pressed over her mouth as tears welled in her eyes. She stared in absolute disbelief at Sakura, who was laughing happily in Su Chen's arms. Aoi had brought Rin Tosaka out for a quiet walk to clear their minds. Just the previous day, Kirei Kotomine had delivered the news of Tokiomi Tosaka's sudden disappearance and death during the Holy Grail War. The shock had devastated Aoi, coming so soon after she believed she had lost her youngest daughter during the destruction of the Matu residence. Only the responsibility of raising Rin kept her standing. Rin herself had grown quiet and solemn overnight, taking on a heavy, mature demeanor to keep from worrying her mother. Hoping to relieve some of that crushing grief, Aoi had taken Rin out into the city. She had never imagined that on this very evening, she would see her youngest child standing right before her, alive, healthy, and smiling brightly.